Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. And we get to talk a little bit about high school football and some big games that are going to be going on this weekend. And joining us on the phones, a good friend with the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show, it's Stephen Orr. Hey, Stephen, what's going on?
Good morning, Chad. How are you today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to a wonderful night. Your football forecast for tonight is just ideal.
Yeah.
Maybe a little breezy at times, but it's going to be a clear night. Should be decent temperatures and a good night for football. And can you believe we're in Week 10?
I know. It's going by pretty fast.
And really, if I had to, looking at the schedule in the districts we talk about in the Lubbock area, basically what this week is a table setter for next week. There are a bunch of games. If everybody in the games tonight takes care of the business that it looks like they will when you look at things on paper, then next week's going to shape up to have some really, really good final week of the season district championship games. And there's games that have playoff implications tonight, but it's really going to be a fun night tonight and next week. When you look at District 6 or District 2 of 6A, you've got Odessa Permian leads that district, followed by Midland Lee, Amarillo, Tascosa, and Odessa. Friendship on the outside looking in. They're playing out the string, and they travel down to Ratliff Stadium tonight to take on the Odessa Permian Panthers. 6-2 overall, 3-0 in district play. Friendship sitting at 0-3, and man, to finish out the run, they've got a tough run. They've got that game tonight. Again, Permian leading the district. Permian needs to win tonight to set up a big game next week against Midland Lee. Friendship will play Amarillo Tascosa next week. Tascosa, a playoff team that looks like they'll be 3-1 when they face off against Friendship next week. So a couple of tough games there. I think Friendship's going to have a hard time coming home with a win unless Odessa happens to look past them and be focusing on that game against the Rebels next week. Midland Lee and Midland High playing tonight. That game is played at Midland, and then you've got Amarillo Tascosa hosting Odessa. Drop down into District 2 of 5A Division 1. Half of the games in that district played last night as Lubbock Monterey hosts Amarillo Caprock at Lowry Field and drops the ball game 59-41 and falls out of playoff contention. Monterey now eliminated from playoffs. Caprock comes to town, and after an early back-and-forth game, at one time they were tied at 21. Caprock pulls away at the latter part of the second quarter and then scores 21 unanswered in the third and gets the win there. And they improved to 4-1 in district play. The other game had Lubbock High traveling up to Amarillo to take on the Amarillo High Sandies, and that one didn't go well at all for the Westerners as Amarillo High gets the 44-0 win there. And so when you look at that district, Coronado playing tonight against Amarillo, the host Amarillo Paladura. Coronado leads the district. They're 7-1, 4-0 on the year, and this has the potential, could be a bit of a trap game. Paladura not playing that well. When you look at their records, they're 3-6 on the year, 1-4 in district play. But they had over 415 yards passing last week in a loss, and if they get rolling and should Coronado stumble a bit, they could be challenged in that passing game. I don't suspect that'll be the case as Coronado's been solid all year. But anyway, a game that they need to certainly show up for and play. You've got Amarillo Caprock sitting in second place in that district. And again, with the win last night, then you've got Abilene Cooper, who's off this week. They're at 4-1 in district play, and Amarillo High sitting there at 3-2. So an important game for Coronado as far as showing up and making sure they take care of their business there. Unfortunately, the other two Lubbock teams, fate sealed, and now they will meet. Lubbock High and Monterey will meet next week as their season finale. We drop to District 3 of 5A Division 2, and Lubbock Cooper leading this district. They're undefeated on the year. They're 3-0 in district play, and they are the class of that district. And they take on an Abilene Wiley team that still hasn't found the win column this year. Abilene Wiley moving up into the Class 5A for the first time, and a team that was a perennial playoff contender and somebody that we saw make deep runs into the playoffs. in a very unfamiliar place for that school, as they're still winless, and that is going to continue after tonight. I think Abilene Cooper just too much for them. Kenyon Randall taking on Wichita Falls Rider. Randall's 4-4 on the year, but 3-0 in district play, taking on 2-1 Rider team. Kenyon Randall wins this game tonight, and that sets up the district cap finale next week, potentially with 2 4-0 district teams, as Lubbock Cooper will travel up to Amarillo to take on the Randall Raiders. So another the table setter there. Plainview takes on Wichita Falls High School. Plainview needs to win this week and next week to have any hopes of staying in the playoff hunt. A loss at home tonight to Wichita Falls would pretty much end their season next week, so we'll keep an eye on that game as well. Drop down into District 2 of 4A Division 2, and that's the district with Lubbock, Estacada, and Levelland in it. Tonight, Estacada has the bye week. They're 7-2 overall, 3-0 in district play. They lead that district, and Levelland sitting there in the tied with them at 2-0. They take on Perryton tonight in Levelland. Perryton 1-7 on the year, 0-2 in district play. Feel pretty confident that we'll see a true district championship next week with two district undefeated teams in Estacada and Levelland, and that should be a barn burner of a game. The other game in that district has Dalhart at 1-2 taking 0-2 Borger in Borger tonight, and I think Dalhart wins that one pretty handily. But again, this is one of those where everybody's 4 out of the 5 teams are going to the playoffs, so I guess Borger playing for their playoff lives tonight, and they'll take on Perryton next week. When we get into District 1 of 3A Division 1, you've got Brownfield taking on Tornillo, Denver City taking on Kermit. Denver City and Kermit both 1-0 in district play, and the winner of that ball game will be the outright leader in the district going into the final week. District 2 with Shallowater, that's another one where Shallowater is the cream of the crop in that district. They're undefeated on the year. They're 3-0 in district play, and they're taking on Littlefield tonight. Littlefield at 2-6 on the year, 1-2 in district play. Their only win is over winless Muleshoe. And so I think Shallowater should win that one pretty handily. Slayton travels up to Muleshoe tonight to take on the Mules, and I think Slayton will get the win there, and that sets up a big ball game next week with Shallowater traveling down to Slayton to take on Slayton. In District 2 of 3A Division 2, first let's jump back to last week. One of our games that I said, man, was going to be the game on the board to watch had Abernathy at 6-1 on the year taking on 7-0 Colorado City. And Abernathy blew the doors off of them. It's 40-0. One of the most impressive wins that we saw on the board last week. And I really thought it was going to be the game of the week on the board, but it didn't turn out that way. Well, they go over to Roosevelt tonight to take on the Roosevelt Eagles. Lubbock Roosevelt sitting at 1-2 in district play, 1-7 on the year. And another game that if Abernathy takes care of their business, that should be a pretty handy win for them. Colorado City taking on Coahoma, another district action. See how they rebound from that loss last week. And then Idalou hosting Stanton. Stanton is 1-7 on the year, 0-3 in district play. Idalou at 2-1 in district play, 6-2 overall. And another game that Idalou needs to take care of their business, and that'll set up a game next week between Abernathy and Idalou that should be a really good contest as well. When we drop down into 2A Division 1, District 2, tonight you have New Deal taking on Post. That should be a really close ball game. Post lost to Sundown last week, and the playoff situation in this district is set. Sundown, New Deal, Hale Center, Sundown, New Deal, Floydada, and Post are in the playoffs. And if New Deal beats Post tonight and Sundown takes care of their business against Fulton, then you'll see New Deal and Sundown in a barn burner of a district championship game. That'll also set up a third and fourth place battle, finishing up on the last week of the season with a Floydada team that should be 7-2 on the year, and a Post team and 2-2 in district play, and a Post team that should come in at 2-2 as well. So another good ball game there. And we drop down into 2A Division 2, District 4. Crosbyton enrolls the Crosby County Championship tonight. That game, may not be. Of course, it's a rivalry game. We don't know. But Crosbyton's 1-7 on the year. They got their first win of the year last week against New Home, 15-14. New Home trying to get a 2-game winning streak that came up a point short there. But Rawls has been playing really good football this year. They're 7-1 on the year, 3-0 in district play, and I think they should take care of that one fairly handily. Then you have New Home traveling to Smyre. Smyre is at 3-1 in district play, a tough ball game for New Home there. And then Lockney hosts Tahoka. Lockney's still looking for the win column for the first time this year. And then when you look in the private schools there in Lubbock, Lubbock Christian taking on Willow Park, Aledo Trinity. Both of these teams are 5-3 overall. Christian is 2-1 in district play. Willow Park 3-0 in district play, and that's a big game there. And then Lubbock Christian is taking on Fort Worth Temple Christian, and I think that Trinity Christian has a bit of an advantage. They're 3-4 in the year, 1-2 in district play, and Fort Worth Temple Christian is 0-3 in district. So maybe a chance for Trinity to pick up another district win there.
Yeah, very interesting. A lot of good games that are looking like they're going to play out well tonight, and like you said, set up everything for next week.
Well, when you look at it on paper, there's really seems to be, in my opinion, games that should be fairly lopsided, but that's on paper.
Yeah.
And that's why we play the games, because there'll be surprises. A lot of teams can lock up their playoff fate, and then it's just a matter of seeding from there. But it really is setting up for next week to be a dandy of a week on the South Plains.
Yeah, and is next week the last week of the regular season?
Next week is the last week of the regular season.
That's amazing.
And then we're off to the playoffs, and it's amazing to me that we just have tonight and then 2 more weeks, and then our show's done for another year, and I can't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then we have next week, and we'll find out what all's going on after that as far as playoff seeding and everything else, right?
I would say next week. I imagine a lot of my call we'll talk about what can happen beyond, and we'll have a really good idea after tonight where most of these districts are seated or where there are games that are life and death for people. So it'll be great fun.
Very nice. All right, Stephen Orr, West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Tell us 1 or 2 games that people have to go and see tonight.
The games that I really like, I like Odessa and Amarillo Tascosa, both teams 5-3 on the year. Playoff seeding is at stake there. And then the Amarillo Paladera Lubbock Coronado game is going to be one of 2 things. Coronado's either going to really win big, or that could be a really good ball game. I like New Deal and Post. Post coming off a pretty rough week last week against Sundown. But they have a lot to play for, and it would be huge for them if they could pull off that upset there. New Deal trying to keep pace with Sundown and, again, set that district championship game up. So I think those are the 3 games that I really like to see this week.
All right. Stephen Orr, as always, appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you, Chad. You have a great weekend.
You too. You can listen to the West Texas Friday Night Scoreboard Show tonight on KFYO from 10 p.m. to midnight and on the KFYO app.